I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Well, I guess I'm on. Hello, here we go. Sorry about that. I was looking at something else. It is the Wednesday Daily Puck Drop. It's your daily sports podcast. We come via the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors and do-it-yourselfers, they're going to help you out there at Limback Lumber. Why? Because they've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Been doing it so long. 1930, they've been in business there. All right? All your lumber needs. Trust someone that's been doing it forever, not one of these big stores that are all over the place, right? Up and down Aurora with all the, the vampires that walk outside there. All right. Trust a local lumber yard. It's been doing it forever. That's Limback Lumber. They do great work. They give back to the community. We'll have more on all their charitable work that they do with the Ballard Food Bank. It's just an incredible group of people that work over there at Limback Lumber. Again, that phone number, 206-782 3487. Visit them at limbacklumber.com. I also got something. Paul, the owner, has a message for Jim Moore that we're going to get to in just a quick second. You can follow me on all these social media platforms. Puck Sports everywhere except for TikTok. Puck Sports was taken, so it had to be Puck_sports. And, of course, you can find everything up at pucksports.com, including joining to become a member of the Pucks Posse for just a little as $5 a month. All right, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we are graced by the one and only. We did Old Crimson yesterday. He was outside of YMCA in Sumner watching his granddaughter. Today, we find him, I believe, at Newcastle.
That's right, Puck. Newcastle Golf Club. I found a conference room at the end of the hallway there from the pro shop, and I thought, well, those doors are closed. They probably don't want anyone going in there, but I'll see if it's open. Turned the door handle and just walked right in. And so, yeah.
So no one knows you're there. So no one knows you're actually in there. You could be in a room where they are not allowing anyone in. Is that possible?
It could be. Yeah. And, it's kind of an exclusive place. And, people like me usually aren't allowed in places like this. But no, they were kind, though. I asked for what the Wi-Fi password is. They don't have one. It just, one of those unsecured networks where you just, go to the Wi-Fi settings. And, for a guy like me who's so cyber savvy, it was pretty easy to figure out.
And after you get through your reads of the 15,000 army of sponsors you have, I've got a message from Paul at Limback Lumber specifically for you. Yes.
Well, okay. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that. I got a message for you too. I think you owe me an apology, and I want to hear one from you. You owe me an apology
for Old Crimson.
Yeah, for how rude you were to me yesterday.
No, you deserved it.
I do that podcast out of the goodness of my heart, and then I just get blasted. Let me tell the listeners and viewers something. He was swinging at my ankles yesterday.
Took you out.
Literally swinging at my ankles. He's shorter than me, so you'd think that maybe he was probably going to be hitting below the belt anyway. But
I don't really feel like my height ankles needs to be brought up here.
Just, it wasn't just a few little jabs. It was like a roundhouse right and a roundhouse left, and God, you questioned my cougness. That just hurt me to the core of my being. You questioned it.
Did it get you to donate?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm a little short on funds right now.
Oh, is that why? Yeah. Okay. You can do it. It's going to do it. You're going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
$220 a year. That's all it's going to cost you.
How much? 220, right?
226. That's all it's going to cost you. That's all you need.
By the end of the week. I need to have enough money in my account to get a room in Ritzville tomorrow night. I'm going to go over to Pullman and I'm going to shake your, I'm going to shake your hand because I'm a class act, even though you're ripping me, because I know you're going to Pullman.
I am.
So I'll see you there.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see you.
A nice gesture you could come up with. You got a free ticket for me?
I don't. No, first, the whole family's going. I think you'll be able to get a ticket to Louisiana Tech for a 7:00 kickoff.
I think so too.
I think you're going to be able to find one.
I'm looking forward to it.
Don't think it's going to be a packed house. Meanwhile, get to the sponsors.
Brian Turner and his crew there at a Clean Streak in Oak Harbor. He also has Bright Owl Lighting. It's time to get those Christmas lights up. Let Bright Owl Lighting do it for you. No ladders, no hanging over gutters, no dying. I tell you that every time. Let them die for you and get the best Christmas light display in your neighborhood. For a free estimate, call 360-675-2034 or visit brightowllighting.com. You need a new car? Well, sure you do. Brotherton Cadillac, Northwest and Shoreline, Brotherton Cadillac and Brotherton Buick GMC in Renton. Fourth generation family owned hospitality makes a difference. They're committed to exceeding your expectations in the car buying process. Stop by the Shoreline or Renton locations or visit brothertonauto.com. And my thanks also to another Coug, Matt Baker from the Angry Beaver, theangrybeaver.com. Check them out in Greenwood. Gluten-free, happy hour. They got it all there. TV screens. Go there for that Louisiana Tech game on Saturday. They've got all the Kraken games and everything else at the Angry Beaver.
Okay, I'm going to read you a text from Paul. Paul loves you. Paul loves the show. He loves Limback Lumber. He's just a great person. He wanted me to read this to you. Okay?
Okay. Is this part of your apology?
No, there's no apology. You deserve to be yelled at.
When you
yesterday.
have co-hosts and guests, you're typically supposed to be nice to them and give them softball questions and stroke them every once in a while. I don't get that from you.
I want you to tap into this Coug love that you have. The Go Cougs. Every time you tweet something out, it's Go Cougs.
Well, that one really hurt.
Yeah, well, it should, because it was a message to you.
I know it was.
And for
listeners who don't know what the hell you're talking about, it was because I always put hashtag Go Cougs at the end of every tweet, even though it's not related to the Cougs. And then
we're going to get to that.
At me yesterday saying, instead of like guys who put Go Cougs on the end of their tweets, maybe they could donate and help out the cause.
We're going to get to that. You're jumping ahead in the rundown. We're going to get to that.
I don't care.
We're going to get to that. I want to read this from Paul.
Okay.
Hey, I just want to give Jim a little love and compassion about all his tech shit that is supposed to make our lives so much easier. I had my cable all upgraded. Million shows to watch. So many I couldn't possibly figure out which one to watch. Then an upgrade happens, which I have no idea when until the remote doesn't work. Computer gets messed up because there's so much shit on the Wi-Fi. Alexa will play radio stations, but not music. Can't blame her because my wife called her a bitch 1,000 times. I'm not sure if I was supposed to read all of this verbatim, but whatever. I don't want to learn any more tech shit, especially AI. Of course, I do run a 95-year-old company that still handwrites invoices, which is the single greatest thing in the world. And one day, this is not Paul, I'm going to take everyone behind the scenes and I'm going to video it with his sister that handles all of it. It's like the Dewey Decimal System. They're pulling it all out. It goes back into I think they go as far back, not to 1930, to the 50s. It's ridiculous. Anyways. But when the calculator breaks, I just go out and get another one out of the closet. I have a theory. Wi-Fi knows you get Medicare, so it fucks with you. A feel for Jim. There's Paul, owner of Limback Lumber, proudly doing business in Ballard since 1930. It once housed the great Hugh Millen, who painted the back walls at Limback Lumber as slush money from the Tyee Club of the University of Washington.
Well, I want to thank Paul for that email. I really appreciate it. I figured that I could relate to a lot of people out there that are having the same struggles I am and, not getting the compassion that I deserve, that I should get from you. But it's nice to hear it from Paul. I honestly, I want to take a sledgehammer to my laptop or my TV or my remote almost every single day. And it's been nice staying at my mom's place in Fairwood this week. I'm up in Seattle. Obviously, I'm at Newcastle right now. And it's been nice. They have Comcast and they have that old, that black remote and they have a guide. And actually, when you turn your TV on, a channel comes on. You don't have to just oh God, I got to go down to Fubo or I got to go down to Hulu or I got to go down to YouTube and then whose profile are you using? You click on that. So it's been nice. Yeah. It's been great. I've been watching the Game Show Network. You ever watch Press Your Luck? That's kind of fun. They got a hot host And then
press your luck. I was always a big Card Sharks fan.
Yeah, and then Family Feud after that with Steve Harvey. God, I've just been zoning out with just mindless TV.
Don't you have that show on the Game Network on Fubo?
No, it was on Comcast. It's like channel 718.
I know, but I think it's also on Fubo.
Well, I'm sure they do have it on Fubo.
You just don't know the channel.
Hit that little fucking magnifying glass, and then type in, whatever.
You miss,
and then look for the A, and then M, and then E, and then where's the space bar, and then show and network to be able to get it.
You miss just knowing. You miss. I do this. I miss this too. I'm on it. I miss going 623.
Yeah. That's ESPN.
Yeah, sure. I know it all.
The funniest thing is that all the people who are cord cutters, you need to cut the cord. Well, all the cord cutters are thinking it's going to be a lot cheaper once you cut the cord. Well, fuck that. It's not cheaper.
It's not
cheaper.
Yes, it is. It is cheaper.
No, it is not.
It is. Let me. Yes, it is.
Right now, because YouTube TV doesn't have ESPN anymore, I had to get the ESPN app. YouTube TV costs $82 a month, and then the ESPN app is another $30 or whatever. And you start adding all these different peacocks and all that other bullshit.
Yeah, but you don't need that. What I'm saying to you is, if you got rid of cable, we use Fubo. It's $70. I don't have. If you don't have, hold on. If you don't have all the others,
about Fubo that Mikey and Stevie don't like. I mean, it's just. I think it's because they don't have NFL Red Zone on Fubo.
It has NFL Red Zone.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't have the CW network then for Cougar football.
Yes, it does.
Well, there's something that YouTube.
I think it's has. TNT. It doesn't have TNT. And but what I'm saying is, hold on. What I'm saying is that $70 for that. You don't have the reason you're paying all this money is because you have Peacock and Netflix and Hulu and all this other stuff. If you didn't have all that, you just had one thing, then it would be it is cheaper.
Okay.
All right. Well,
are you ever going to agree with me about anything?
I'm not. I'm not going to agree with you on that, and I'm not
one time.
And I'm not going to agree with.
I know something you'll agree with me on. Mm-hmm. You mention Hugh Millen all the time with Limback Lumber, and we love Paul there. We love old school Paul, and I love him even more because of that message. You will agree with me on this. How many people's hands do you think you've shaken in your lifetime? A handshake with a million different people.
He has a very aggressive handshake.
There is no one that I've ever shook hands with who has a firmer handshake to the point that you're like going, Jesus Christ, man. I know you don't want the limp dick handshake, but you're going the opposite direction a little too hard here.
He's got a
Hugh Millen will shake your hand like he wants to crush it. I mean, he wants everyone to know that, hey, man, you're not going to think I'm a pussy. I'm going to give you that firm.
He's got a firm handshake. I don't know what to tell you. He's got a firm handshake. And he's very aggressive.
I maybe told you this. I maybe already told you this, and I don't care if I'm repeating the story for you. Some listeners might find this interesting. We were at the VMAC one day, and Hugh shook my hand, and I just said, Jesus Christ, Hugh, can you just ease up a little bit? And he, of course, this is Hugh. Okay, well, Jim, come here. All right, let's try. And so then we went through various
handshakes,
firmness of handshakes.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like Hugh at all.
He was going, is this too firm? Is this not firm enough? And then is this Goldilocks or something? No, this is just right.
Yeah, he's
just right.
He's a beaut. He's a beaut. All right, so listen, we're gonna skip ahead in the rundown here. I had Seahawks Rams right away. You want me to wait you want me to wait there? You want to go into fan apathy? You want to go into why I was so upset at you on the old Crimson?
It's your podcast.
Okay, let's just go through Seahawks and Rams. The spread now, it started 2.5. Now is at the 3.5.
I like the Seahawks getting 3.5. I noticed that too. I didn't really like them at 2.5, but I like them at 3.5.
Yeah.
So don't you think when you factor in all the different things with how well I know both teams are playing really well. And the Rams don't really have a home field advantage. Seahawks play well on the road. And 2-7-2 teams that look pretty similar. I don't think there's that big of an advantage for one team or the other. And if you're going to give me the Seahawks and 3.5, I'll take them.
I think this game is so appealing to me on Sunday just because of what it means for, again, it's a team sport and all that, is what it means for Sam Darnold. Because I think Sam Darnold is, again, his last time that he faced this team is in the playoffs. He's terrible. It's not all his fault. His offensive line gets killed. He's sacked 9 times. He's having just a terrible game. But what it meant for Sam Darnold was after the game. Because after the game, it was, it's the same Sam Darnold. See, Sam Darnold hasn't really changed. Everyone forgot what Sam Darnold did in the first 14 weeks or 15 weeks of the season. All that you ever remembered from that playoff loss was, this is still the same Sam Darnold that uttered, all I saw was, or I've seen ghosts, New York Jets failure. And when he signed here, I think, and many of us, myself included, wondered, well, I don't know what version we're going to get. Are we going to get that? Or are we going to get the end of the year Sam Darnold or something in between? I think we'd probably have said we've gotten something in. Well, no, we've gotten more of what the guy was the first part of it. I mean, he's turned the ball over a little too much here of late. But I think for him, because the question that every Seahawks fan has, and I think is still waiting at times for that Sam Darnold other shoe to drop, is like, when is he going to come back down to reality? Because he's playing so well. But I think a lot of Seahawks fans have the same thought with Sam Darnold is, yeah, he's been really good, but can he win the big one? Can he win a Super Bowl? And he's always going to be asked that question.
Okay, here's the thing that occurred to me and probably to no one else, but I'll mention it anyway. Why is it when we talk about Sam Darnold, we always call him Sam Darnold? We never just call him Darnold or Sam.
I think because it rolls off the tongue.
It's always Sam Darnold this and Sam Darnold that. Like Russell Wilson, it was always Russell after a while. Geno Smith, it was always Geno after a while. Why do we just continue to say Sam?
Because
you said Sam Darnold probably 10 times there instead of Darnold.
Oh, I think it's because it's because Sam. It sounds better to say Sam Darnold, doesn't it?
Does it? I don't know why that occurred to me, but it's not just you. It's me, too. I always call him Sam Darnold all the time.
It's the enunciation of it, right? It's Darnold.
Yeah. And whenever I think about Sam Darnold, I still like to think about Martin Stadium in that Friday night game when he played for USC and Jahad Woods took the ball away from him.
Okay.
That was
get it back on the road. Will you get it back? 10-2. Get it back on the road.
Okay. All right. No, I'm with you, though. I think when you talk about the Rams, that was his last game last year. And I think he was, sacked 9 times or something like that. And it's so strange to see that because the Sam Darnold that we know now is pretty elusive. He can get away from the sacks. And he rolls left, rolls right, throws well from the pocket. He throws well from everywhere. We saw the perfect first half against the Commanders. And no, the guy's been sensational, but there's always going to be those doubts about him.
Of course.
And now here are the Rams again. And
even if he wins this week, Jim, there's going to be doubts about him. Even if he beats the Rams, it's still going to be.
They haven't played their final game of the year yet, final regular season game, and then the first game of the playoffs. Whoever they face, it's going to be like, well, can Sam Darnold get past this?
Of course,
There's got to be
championship. He has to win the Super Bowl to finally put it to end any doubt about Sam Darnold.
I don't agree with that. I think he needs to get past that first round game successfully and then have a good last game. If that last game means something against the Niners, he needs to play well in that one and play well in the first round playoff game. And then anything after that is gravy.
So you don't think if they were to lose in the NFC Championship game, that it would, some of the narrative, fair or unfair, wouldn't be, well, God, they had a better option at quarterback. Or if they had something better than Sam Darnold.
No, I don't think so. If they make it to the NFC Championship game, it's like the Mariners this year. We looked at them and thought anything short of the World Series was going to be a disappointment. With the Seahawks, if they if they make it to the NFC Championship game this year and don't make it to the Super Bowl, is anyone going to be truly disappointed?
No,
because you went into the Mariners season thinking, God, they might have all the components that you need to get to the World Series and finally end the drought. You went into the Seahawks season this year going, yeah, I think they'll be good, but I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if they're not good. And so if they made it to the NFC Championship game, I think that would exceed expectations for most people.
For Seahawks, yes, but I still maintain that it was a disappointment for the Mariners. And that's just me. So.
Well, and then it depends on how Darnold plays, obviously. I mean, if the first round playoff game, if he plays well and the Seahawks still lose because the defense is, somehow not playing well, then you can't really blame him. I just wonder, what do you think? if you're Sam Darnold, I'll keep going with that.
Sam Darnold.
If you're him, is it just everyone talking about this stuff, or do you think he's going to go into that last game against the Niners and then the first playoff game and not really think about that? Or do you think he'll be laying awake at night looking at his smoke detector going, man, I sure hope I can get past these demons that haunted me last year? I wonder
think
how much of it goes through his head.
I think more than we realize. I do. I think they think about it. He's a competitor. He's human. I think he thinks about it. Yeah, I think they all think about it. Absolutely.
But on a personal level, I mean, forget about him playing for the home team and playing for the Seahawks. Don't you just hope that he excels in those moments? Because we've all failed at things in the course of our lifetimes, and then
speak for yourself.
Whatever the situation is, the next time you get in that situation, you kind of go, God, I hope I don't fuck it up again. I mean, and then when you actually come through, when you make that free throw or you get that key hit or whatever it is in life and your business, and you come through, you got to feel good yourself, and you got to feel good for someone else who finally gets over that hurdle and silences the doubters and probably doubts in his own mind too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about Darnold that I felt, when Geno Smith took over. And Geno Smith he didn't have the same expectations that Darnold did. See, I only said Darnold there. Because he wasn't a first-round pick, right? He wasn't a top 5 pick. Did Darnold go number 3? I can't remember where he was drafted, but he was a first-round pick. I think he was top 5, but but he didn't have that same pressure. I think not like Darnold did. I mean, Darnold had all the pressure in the world, being such a high draft pick. And then it failed, and then he bounced around. And yeah, I think anytime you see guys like that, and he just seems like, again, not knowing anything about him, we only see what we see on television and what we see on our screens. He just seems like a good guy. He seems like a real down-to-earth, normal dude. And to his credit, I don't know if he's on it. Maybe he's got a burner account like Hugh Millen's got. Is he on social media? I don't think he is. He might be the only athlete that's not on it. You never hear him on it. You never see any tweets on it. Never praying emojis or any pictures of him on the field. Nothing. Just he looks like a guy that just goes in there, goes to work, does his job, gets along probably with everyone, probably knows everyone's name on the team. Probably, I don't know, maybe we haven't heard any stories. I bet you's taken the offensive lineman out over to Dino's and they polished off about 15 pitchers of beer one night. And there's
laid back California kid.
There's some quarterbacks just don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, he's got a little, minus probably hopefully the painkillers. He's got a little Brett Favre in him, just how I think he relates to everybody inside a locker room. I think he's very, very likable. I always go back to a video they showed last year, I think, when the Vikings, he came after a big game, came back in the locker room, and the reaction from his teammates to him was just, it was outstanding. So he's got a lot of things. Checks a lot of boxes. I think there is always a worry in the back of your head. Is this too good to be true? Did he really find it? But he keeps playing better and better and better. I wish he would take care of the ball a little bit more. I don't know how much of the fumble last week is on him or is it on Oluwatimi, the new center in there. He has to lead the league in balls going off opponents' helmets. I'll tell you that. It's like the third one he's had, but the turnovers they need to clean up. But he has made throw after throw in every game they've had. This is going to be his biggest test. This is why I can't wait for Sunday. I talked to Danny Kelly about this yesterday. We don't normally get this excited about a regular season NFL game. We do this in college a lot, right? The big game of the week, college game day, whatever, the number 1 team against number 5. We get excited about that. Not so much in the NFL, despite the NFL being so much more popular. Does that make sense? But this week, God, I can't wait to get to Sunday at 1:00 because it's their offense and Sam Darnold against a very good defense, top 5 defense, and then a top 5 offense versus the Seahawks top 5 defense. Who's going to blink first? The great chess match between McDonald and McVay. McDonald was hired for this reason, to defeat Sean McVay and to defeat Kyle Shanahan. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we always talked about it during the Mariners playoff run, how this game or that game or just about every game was pivotal. And I always kind of mocked some of that, especially because not every game is pivotal in the playoffs, but this is a pivotal regular season game. Because you lose, then you're behind on the tiebreaker and you're a game behind, so it's like you're 2 games behind. And so I mean, everybody knows how critical and they really need to win this game. And I heard something, I think it was from one of the Sunday Night Football guys. I told myself, now, Jim, don't forget who it was, but I've already forgotten who it was.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And it might go without saying, and a lot of people might be going, God, Jim, duh, I already knew that. But I think it was Jason Garrett. Yeah, I mean, he's generally dull, but he had a nice little fun fact about Sam Darnold when he talked to him. And Darnold said to him, it just makes it so much easier as a quarterback when you play and you know you have a good defense. And it's like, yeah, duh. And his point was like, if you don't have a good defense, you feel like every time you're out there, every series you have to score. And so you press and you make throws that you know wouldn't otherwise make because you know that you need to keep up with the other team that's scoring like a slot machine. And so with this team, Sam Darnold, whatever you think about the Seahawks offensive line, it's certainly improved. They've only given up 9 sacks.
It's the number one, Jim. But
it allows him to be more effective when he knows that he's got a defense that's hell on wheels out there.
It's number 1 in the league. It's number 1 in the league in terms of fewest sacks given up. And that's why he's having so much success, is because he's got time to throw the football. I mean, we do this every year in football, and you and I, it's a broken record. We always, what is the key to the game? Oh, the turnover battle. Oh, they got to do it. And I laugh because we make this joke every time. It's just, why are they so good this year, offensively and defensively? Because their lines are playing great. That's why. Their offensive line's playing great. Their defensive line is awesome. That's why they're playing great. And so we overcomplicate football so much. And it's in the trenches. That's how you win. It's how the Rams are winning. It's how every team is winning. And it always starts and ends there. And they've seemed to finally, find a group up front that's good enough. Now I get to see it because Sundell was a part of that group. Now he's out for a few weeks and Oluwatimi is in. So we'll see how he can fit in there. And, Bradford is, still has his moments, but he's, better. He's okay. I guess maybe not all 5 are going to be perfect, but Lucas has been great. That Sundell's looked good. Zabel's been sensational. And then Charles Cross has been solid. So, I mean, and then you look at the defensive front for them. I mean, Murphy and Big Cat, all these guys. The guy they bring in there is just a wave of defensive linemen who are just getting after it all the time. It's why they don't have to blitz. I think they're ranked. I think they're the least blitzing team in the league, or top 3 least blitzing teams in the league. So that's how you win in this league. That's how you win at every level of football, every level. And it's boring to talk about because people hate talking about the offensive line and the defensive line. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the Seahawks with their defense, they're swarming. They're all over the place, and you don't know where they're coming from. And Mike McDonald has a lot to do with that. And we've talked about next man up. Well, it's usually bullshit, but these guys have been great. The next man up has always been really good, and so they've sustained the injuries and still been a top-notch defense. It's interesting that the over/under is 48 in this game when you've got 2 teams that are in the top 5 of scoring defense. The Rams are number 2 at giving up 17 a game, and the Seahawks are number 5 at giving up 19. And yet, I mean, they're so high-powered offensively, too. You look at Stafford's numbers. I really – and I've always loved Matt Stafford. I haven't really looked at his stats until today. But his touchdown to interception ratio, what is it, like 25-2?
Yeah,
Come on.
Insane.
Come on. It's incredible. You talked about it. He had a back injury that put his season in question.
He didn't participate in training camp, for God's sakes.
Yeah. And look at him. So, yeah, I don't know what I would do on that over-under. But just for Sam Darnold's sake, I hope he has a good game and doesn't turn it over. If he turns it over the next week, whoever they're playing, okay. But this is one of those games where for him personally and for the Seahawks, generally speaking, he needs to, not lose the ball, whether it's an interception or a fumble, for the Seahawks to have a chance. Because if he loses 1 or 2 in this game, the margin of error is so slim that they're probably not going to come out victorious in this one.
Okay, before we get to fan apathy, just a few headlines before we get to Jim's fan apathy as a Cougar fan. MVP awards being announced tomorrow. Hopefully Cal Raleigh will get it. Certainly is. He's won every other award. Dan Wilson finished third yesterday. Stephen Vogt, who won it for Cleveland. John Schneider finished second. Cy Young Award's going to be handed out today. The American League, Hunter Brown, Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet. It's going to go to Skubal. In the NL, it's Christopher Sanchez, Paul Skeens, and Yamamoto. It's believed that Skeens will win it. Andy McKay, Mariners assistant GM, leaving the Mariners for 10 years, is going to become the field coordinator for the Cleveland Guardians. Huskies got a bunch of injuries. Looks like Jonah Coleman may be out this week, and Denzel Boston. They got a game against Purdue. They're heavy favorites, 16.5 points, 4 o'clock on Saturday on FS1. It is, well, it's a kind of a make-believe dad's weekend over in Pullman, but whatever. Cougs and La Tech. Cougs favored by 8.5 in the game. Are you okay, or is there supposed to be a board meeting in there?
How's it going?
Hey, good. Yeah, why are you in here, sir?
Don't they know this is a private room?
Yeah, well, they do now. 7 o'clock on the CB network. We got a bunch of injuries on the offensive line, and then Pulassi is also questionable for the game, which brings us to fan apathy. We recorded a Old Crimson yesterday, myself, Jim Moore, and Paul Sorensen. And there was no game to talk about. We were going to preview La Tech because I don't really care and know nothing about Louisiana Tech. Other than their head coach, Cumbie was a quarterback for Mike Leach. Look at these guys. What's going on? What kind of meeting they got in there?
I don't know. Hey, you guys mind? I'm trying to do a podcast over
here. Yeah, sure. I think they do mind. They run the place.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Go Cougs.
Not everybody. You can't use Go Cougs anymore until you donate. So Coug Fan does a story. We've talked about NIL, and the president came out this week for Washington State and said, hey, listen, we've got a goal of $20 million, which I think is very attainable. And I don't – all these collectives are very secretive of how much money they spend. But the really, really good ones are, I think, between 30 and 50 million.
That's what I heard Texas Tech is spending. Okay. And look how they're playing this year.
They're playing great. Now, to get $20 million, the collective has a base entry like what I'm a part of. It's $18.90. When the school was founded, so they call it the 1890 Club. It's $18.90 a month. And to get to that figure of $20 million, you would need 88,000 people to donate $18.90. That doesn't seem like a lot. They've got 250,000 plus alumni around there. Well, according to the Coug Fan story, now the collective has come out and tweeted at me that this is not true, and I'm like, well, then what's the number? But there's no answer given. But they say the Coug Fan story is untrue. Coug Fan reports they only have 2,000 members. Now, I find that embarrassing. Out of this alumni base that, again, likes to talk about, and this is what we discussed on Old Crimson yesterday, about how passionate they are about Cougar football and how much they love the school. And I just wonder why, and I believe all of that, but why do they not give back more? That's what I want to know.
And what was your answer when you asked that question?
I don't think I really got an answer from anyone. Why?
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it, and that's why you were taking shots at me yesterday. And I'm temporarily guilty, I guess, because last year I signed up and did the $18.90 a month thing, and then my subscription or whatever ran out a month or so ago, and I haven't renewed it as yet. I'm going to renew it. It's actually kind of reluctantly though. And mainly it's because I hate the NIL and all this stuff, and I know that what you're gonna say, because you already said it yesterday, is like, hey man, it's the way of the world, and if you want our team to be better, then you need to contribute. And I got to admit, it's tough for me to do it. I'm gonna do it just because you shamed me into it.
Yeah, well,
and because I want our team to be good, and if we can get 80,000 people like me that can donate $18.90 a month, then it gives our coaches a better chance to produce a better team, and then we'll have more fun at Martin Stadium and on the road when we go on these road trips. But there is that part of me yesterday that I spoke about that's like, what's my $18.90 a month going to do? I mean, do you really think if we had 50,000 people signing up for $18.90 a month. Do you think John Mateer would be our quarterback this year? No, he wouldn't be, because Oklahoma has, oil money and all these other guys that are donating a hell of a lot more.
Let me just interrupt there for a second. I would disagree with that. I don't know. They offered him $1.5 million. He went to Oklahoma for 3.2. If we have a collective that's only raising $5 million, we had a collective that was at 20 million, don't you think they could have made a more competitive offer to John Mateer and he stays?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's true. But, you can just look at it. It's just like with Josh Naylor, how much are the Mariners going to offer? And maybe he'll give him some sort of a discount, but how much of a discount if what someone else is offering is like through the roof and not even close to what the Mariners offer? Well, then he's going to leave. He's going to talk about, we can talk about all we want about, like, he loves playing there. He loves the fans in Seattle. Just like John Mateer, it was more appealing for him to go to Oklahoma to play in the Big 12 than whatever it is. We're not playing in anything this year, but we're going to have the reconstituted Pac-12 next year. But I don't know, Puck. I'm just torn on that, because the bigger part of me is like going, the old school me is thinking, geez, a free education isn't enough for these kids to play anymore. And the numbers are just obscene. Texas Tech, 30 to 50 million they're spending on their football team. And good for those kids and great for them and all that. But it's bad for a lot of us at other schools like ours that have to deal with this, this stuff. And I'm disillusioned by it all. And so I'm trying to get through the disillusion part and understand that what you're saying, I need to take to heart and just, do my little part, however little it is. And if nothing else, I don't know how much it's going to help the football program, but it'll, prevent you from ripping the shit out of me for not being a good Cougar fan. So there's that too.
But isn't the drawback of the negativity of not donating hurt the school even more, rather than your case of what is my $18 going to do? That's like saying, well, why vote? My vote doesn't really count.
Don't you think people are like, there's a burnout on, like, boy, they're asking for money all the time. Okay, so there's the Cougar Collective, there's the Cougar Athletic Foundation. I don't know. Can you donate to the athletic department without donating to one of those two? And then there's always been this part of me, even though I want our team to be great. And Jimmy Rogers talked about winning a national championship. I do. It's more fun when Cougar football is good, obviously. But there's a part of me that's a comm major that's thinking, God, football's just a game. It's a sport. It's fun. But if I'm going to donate money, shouldn't I donate it to the communications department, so that it helps with academics instead of athletics?
Well, I guess I would say you can give to both, can't you?
Well, yeah, I could do both. Yeah, I could do both.
I just don't.
Wait till you get to your fixed income days, though, pal.
I'm already there. I just don't think I think you can give to both. And if it's important to you, if it isn't, then it isn't, I guess. I don't know. I just think that this is the way of it. I agree with you. I think everyone agrees that they don't like the direction of where college football is, but it is what it is. So
no, I know.
Do you want it? I guess I would just say, do you want it to just go away? Because if people don't want to, if they want it to go away, then it will.
Well, it's going to be more appealing to players next year, because I do buy into the belief that it's easier. If you win the Pac-12 next year, you're probably, and whatever you want to say about, oh, God, you guys are Mickey Mouse and you got Utah State and all these state schools in there and you guys aren't going to be any good, or group of five, or whatever the hell they want to say. But I think we can agree that if you do win that conference next year, you're going to have a pretty good shot at making that playoff. And it's not going to be, I don't know what the latest is. They've got 12 teams now. It's going to go to 16 eventually. And so you'll be in prime position for that. And you look at the Huskies, and not to rip on the Huskies and go out of my way and do that, even though that's pretty much what I do my whole life. But it's going to be harder for the Huskies to make it there than it will be for us next year. I mean, you could conceivably, because if we win the Pac-12 and if they continue to just be a middling Big Ten team, when you've got 18 teams in the conference, I think it goes without saying that we'll have a better shot.
But I think what's alarming, and we can wrap it up, I think what's alarming is when you read that article and you hear the president of the school say that we are going to enter in a new conference next season. We had a hand in creating, along with Oregon State, as the school with the least amount of money donated from the NIL and athletics to the football program. That's a problem. That's a big, big problem for that school. And you thought you were going to go into this new conference as kind of one of the leaders of it, but you have a chance to be surpassed by Boise State and Colorado State and San Diego State, and that's not good. Not good at all, especially where they need to be in position in the next few years.
More money too.
The Beavers donated more money, and they're grinding on that guy that runs NVIDIA, the AI company, who's I think the richest man in the world. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I just think that it doesn't take a lot, and when I see all these fans go to Ole Miss, and I see all these fans on social media, everyone talk about how much passion they have for the school. I just don't know why they don't give them.
Okay, well, what do you guess the number one reason is? Is that we're just cheap?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I gave my reason, but I imagine it's all over the board, different reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We can't solve it, but you can listen to more and watch more of us yelling at each other. Old Crimson, available now on YouTube and all podcast platforms.
Don't waste your time with that tomorrow. Whenever you're going to watch that,
just wonder if it's really good.
Because Puck was just yelling and screaming at me. He was just irrational. It wasn't any fun for me. You hurt my feelings.
Yeah, you don't have feelings to hurt. All right, Jim Moore. We'll see you Friday. Thank you. Are you going to do it Friday, or are you going to be in Pullman?
God, I'm going to be live from Ritzville, I think.
Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm going to be in a Ritzville hotel, and I might play that little 9-hole course over there if the weather permitting. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gearing up for that.
All right. We'll see you on Friday.
Okay, Puck. Go Cougs.
Yeah, I'm going to edit that part out of it. So yeah, there he is, Jim Moore, the go-to guy with us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Again, brought to you by his army, and I mean army, of advertisers. Of course, in Brotherton Cadillac, Angry Beaver, also a Clean Streak, and Bright Owl Lighting. All right, we transition back over to the NFL. Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com, joins me every single Wednesday here on the podcast, all brought to you by Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
Okay. Well, we're not going to spend much time looking back at last week's game, all right, Rob? As Rob Staton joins me every single week, we're going to put that in the rearview mirror, and we are going to look ahead to the Rams game coming up this weekend with Seattle, all right? Inside the bloody trenches with Rob Staton. It's always brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. You can follow Rob also on social media at Rob Staton. Check out his YouTube page, Rob Staton Football, and read all of his work, as always, at SeahawksDraftBlog.com. All right, we sit here on a Wednesday, Rob Staton, Seahawks, Rams. How are we thinking this game goes? Obviously, people's opinions change, the ebb and flow with the week. What stands out to you as of now, Seahawks and Rams Sunday?
Well, first of all, I hope the game lives up to the billing, because when you have a game like this and everybody's attention is on this game, a lot of the focus today actually has been on people complaining that it's not the primetime game. I mean, how on earth are we having to endure another Raiders primetime on Monday Night Football this week? They've been on primetime a lot. Why wasn't this moved to that slot? Because it's the ideal kind of game for Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. So it is what it is. I hope it lives up to the billing. I hope it's going to be a great game. I anticipate it's probably going to be something that is quite close. The thing that I'm sort of focusing on, Puck, and I don't know whether this is the right thing to do or not, is there's going to be a whole bunch of people saying this is a Sam Darnold thing, a chance to put that game last year to bed. I think that's a false narrative. I think that's a red herring, because if you actually look at the data, The problem was a horrendous offensive line performance by the Vikings at the end of last season against the Rams. And if you actually look at how Matt Stafford and Sean McVay's offense fared against Mike Macdonald last season in the one game that the starters played against each other, they didn't do that well. So I'm interested to see if that continues again, because if Mike Macdonald can get one over on Sean McVay here, then we're going to be talking about a potential Super Bowl run next week.
Okay, there's going to be a lot of things that make people nervous, right? Everyone, you lay your head down on the pillow, you start tossing and turning, looking up at the ceiling. God, if this goes wrong, what happens here? What happens with this player, with this personnel? Or what makes Rob Staton when he lies down, and you don't sleep at all, by the way. People don't know this about Rob. Rob sleeps like an hour a night. He might be a vampire. He does not sleep. Okay, all he does is work. What makes you so nervous?
Nothing really. I don't think anything's making me nervous about this game. I think, well, look, you have to accept that Matt Stafford's going to he's going to make some plays. Matt Stafford is going to make some plays. Matt Stafford could win this game for the Rams. I think the thing that makes me, it's not going to keep me up at night. What is going to, the thing that I fear the most is that the Seahawks lay an egg. And all of the positivity and the hope that has been generated and this sort of growing belief, because I think we all want to follow a contender this year. You know, we've been waiting for it. We've been hoping that the Seahawks can get back to a position where they can be a serious team in the NFC. And if they lose badly on Sunday, that's going to be forgotten. You know, there's going to be no chance of that. We're going to be thinking, oh no, you know, there's the hope's dashed. They're a bit of a pretender still. They're good, not great. That's the thing that will probably keep me up at night. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think even if they don't ultimately win, I think it's going to be a competitive game. I was talking to Brian Nemhauser yesterday, and he was saying it could be the first of 3 games. And he makes a good point. It could be. This could be like 2013, where they played the Niners 3 times. It could be a case where this is just the first chapter of a story between the Seahawks and the Rams this year. So I hope that's the case, because if they play each other 3 times, it may well be that 3rd time is NFC Championship.
Yeah. All right. So it doesn't make you nervous. You that would tell me that you think they've got inherent advantages all across the board. Where does Rob Staton see the advantages of Seattle against the Rams?
Well, last season they did an exceptional job stopping the running game against the Rams. The Rams ran for 2.8 yards a carry. Matt Stafford had 200 passing yards and a touchdown and an interception before overtime. So in the overtime where the Seahawks failed on 4th down, can you remember they ran it twice on 4th and 1 and couldn't get the yard? Puckett, can you remember us complaining about the offensive line on that? And it took the wind out of the stadium and of the team. And then Stafford was just like 3 passes downfield, touchdown, game over. Before that, he didn't play very well. And I think that one of the advantage Seattle has is the creativity of their defense, their ability to keep you guessing, the way that they're creating pressure from everywhere, the performance of that defensive line, whether it's going to be against the run or whether it is going to be against the pass and pressuring Matt Stafford. I think they're going to have an advantage there. Now, the disadvantage I think they're going to have is tight ends. I think we saw again Trey McBride last weekend, even though it was garbage time, kind of had his way with the Seahawks. It was an open invitation to get me 18 points in 3 of my fantasy teams, and I'm grateful for the Seahawks for that. But they need to find a way to cover these tight ends, because Puka Nacua is a threat, Devontae Adams is a threat. Matt Stafford will find his tight ends if he's given an opportunity.
Is it inherently an advantage to Seattle in just a small way, because the Seahawks use so many tight ends and so many tight end personnel, and not like that they just are going up against that every day in practice. This isn't high school anymore where they're scrimmaging so much, back in the day, or even to a degree like college. But there is some similarity between it. It's not like they are seeing an offense in practice that runs something so dissimilar to what the Rams run. I would think that that's got to be somewhat of an advantage or helpful, I think, to Mike Macdonald in the defense.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing we kind of have to remember sometimes is that the NFL teams, I can't watch, Puck, I suspect you may agree with this, I can't watch a game of NFL football and go, that's cover 2, Z slots, blah, 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 blah.
Well, but I don't like watching football like that. And I'll be honest with you, I think, and that so much of that, now you got me down a different road here, and I'm just so much of that is dominated like the internet and TV.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fucking off-putting to the average fan. And I'm an average fan. I think it's so off-putting. People don't talk about sports and football like that. I'm telling you, go to your pub where your favorite pub where you go have a drink and talk NFL or talk, football over there and just listen to how fans talk about it. They're not talking about, I go to a local bar around here. And when we talk about the Seahawks, no one at that bar is going, they really struggle in that. They really struggle in that cover too. I mean, no one talks like that. Okay, I'm done with mine.
No, I think it's fair. There is a high degree of showing off, I think, goes on. Like, look at me. I can use the big words and I can explain things, and you're not on my level because
you're right. Exactly. I just
that's the way it is. So the point I was kind of making is that the NFL teams, they kind of know what everybody's running, and okay, this is a team that runs this, and they know that we're a team that runs this, and really. I don't think there's any surprises in an NFL game. And it does ultimately come down to sort of the minute details, those executions, whether a good player on one team can make a better player than the good player that he's facing, and just moments of fortune sometimes and health. And and at the end of it all, this is why I love the NFL. It's why I'm so obsessed with it. Is that it is the perfect combination of just physical brilliance and violence and everything that comes with that, and a little bit of tactics involved, and sort of just being able to sit back and watch it. So I don't think we're going to see any surprises here from the Rams. I think the Seahawks will know what they're going to get, and it's going to be a classic matchup. And I just think that this also, I do think when the Seahawks and the Niners faced each other, and it was Carroll versus Harbaugh and all of that stuff. You did have a bit of a mismatch there in that Colin Kaepernick just wasn't as good as Russell Wilson. And the LOB was so good and they could stymie Kaepernick apart from when he was running. I think in this matchup here, you have got genius offensive mind in McVay. I think Mike McDonald is showing that he's an exceptional mind defensively. And you've got no real weakness on either side. And that is going to be like two huge juggernauts clashing. And I think that could be very interesting.
Well, it's like watching two, coordinators sit in a meeting room up on the whiteboard, and you get an offensive coordinator together and a defensive coordinator. What they'll do is they'll sit there and go back and forth and counter each time on the whiteboard. Well, if you do this, I'll do that. When you do that, I'll do this.
Yeah.
And that's what this Sunday game is going to be all about, is like, Matt Stafford has seen everything in the world. There's probably not a defense and a coverage that he has not seen. He's played, what is he on? 15 years, 16 years in the league? He's seen it all. I don't think there's anything that Mike McDonald's going to show him on Sunday that he probably hasn't seen. Can he disguise it and hide it a little bit more? Perhaps. It's just going to come down to the players. It's going to come down to that front four. If they don't blitz a lot, which they don't really do anyways, it's going to be those four getting after it. Can they win one-on-one? Can they get around their guys? Can they make life miserable for him by not sending a lot of pressure and making Stafford hold on to the ball for a tick longer? And I would assume it's kind of the same thing on how the Rams are going to probably try and defend Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold, are they going to have to run the ball? And again, this is all cliche stuff, but Seattle's going to have to, they love to run it. They have a high percentage of running the ball, but they got to be effective in running the ball. Try to get in 2nd and 6 if you can, or 3rd and 3. So where you can still run it or a short little quick pass. But the in-game head coaching chess game to me is fascinating, along with, and I'm sure you've thought about this as well, all the other storylines that go into it. The Sam Darnold facing this team for the first time since the disaster playoff game. The Cooper Kupp reunion against the Rams, which did not end well. It did. That marriage between those two did not end well. Ernest Jones being traded from the Rams to the Seahawks. So there's just a lot of great, I think, individual storylines heading into the game as well. Completely agree. Matt Stafford has played 231 games, which is speaks to his experience. I just checked that up. I think the Seahawks have got such an explosive offense now. And when you look at that Rams defensive line, and this, credit to Brian again, who
brought this statistic up. The Rams started the season creating a lot of pressure, and they were having a lot of success with their pass rush. And for some reason, and he didn't have an answer for this, and I certainly don't either. It's not been as effective in the last sort of 3 or 4 games. So you do just wonder, like, is that how the Seahawks going to win this game? Actually, is it going to be like you look at the Rams front and you think, Jared Verse, Fisk, Byron Young, those kind of players, the pass rushers, the defensive linemen, is it actually going to be down to can they create a bit more pressure? And if they can't, and the Seahawks have done a very good job, 10 sacks in 10 games, it's an unbelievable statistic that they've only given up 10 sacks in 10 games, that the Seahawks can, or in 10 weeks, can the Seahawks attack downfield against what looks like a pretty suspect Rams secondary? Is this going to be a game where if the Rams, no one can stop JSN at the minute, but if they do have an answer to that, is this when Rashid Shaheed becomes a dynamic downfield threat? Are we going to see, an Elijah Arroyo breakout game? Because I'm watching Trey McBride last week and I'm thinking, this is what I want Elijah Arroyo to be. That kind of, unstoppable force at tight end. Like, he may not win the game, but he's going to get his yards, he's going to get his targets. And I just wonder whether that is where this game's going to be won. It's going to be on pass protection and attacking that second level of the defense.
God, you know what, Rob? I brought this up several times, and I think I'm doing an awful job of articulating it, which anyone that listens to this or watches this would say, that's not new. I don't get this excited for regular season NFL games. Like, to me, college football has cornered that market for hyping up the big game of the week. You can't wait to watch Alabama LSU at night in Baton Rouge on CBS with Vern Lundquist on the call. Okay,
old school Vern. Come back, Vern.
Old school Vern back on CBS with the music and all of it. And I know it's you know what? That's one of the things that college football has been ruined this year. That now the SEC's on ESPN and the frickin' CBS has the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. But I just, you get so excited for those games in college football, despite NFL being a much bigger product. But God, I cannot wait for Sunday. I can't. I just, because I just think it's got the makings of such a really, really, really good game. And then, as you're being an NFL fan, that will morph into what's the Sunday night game? It's Eagles-Lions.
Yeah.
These could be arguably the last 4 teams remaining, in the NFC. So I think it's going to be such great theater. I can't wait to watch them go at it and just see what new wrinkles both staffs have for one another.
I think, the college football, it's almost like a boxer who tries to stay undefeated for as long as possible. And then
that's probably it. Yeah.
And when a boxer loses a fight, then it's almost like, well, that's it. They're not going to go for a world title now. And in college football, if you do lose, like if Indiana lose a game, they're suddenly going to go from 2nd to 10th or something. Like if they lost to Penn State, they'd have sunk a lot lower than, say, a Georgia or an Alabama would, because it's Indiana, and that's just the way that their voters will go with that. And the NFL, if the Seahawks lose this game, we go, well, they're going to play each other again, like in a couple of weeks. So there's a chance there. I completely agree with you and how exciting this is. It's actually the national radio broadcast game this weekend in the UK for the BBC. So I am going to be covering this for the BBC, it's a challenge, that, Puck, because I'm going to have to be very, very impartial on this and speak positively and negatively about both teams. So it's going to be me doing my absolute hardest here to.
How do we get? Are you doing play-by-play?
No. So what they do is I studio host, and we go to, I think it's like typically Westwood One or somebody like that, and then because it's the BBC, we don't have commercial breaks. So whenever the commercial breaks happen, we come in and we host through that. So So every time there's a stoppage, they come back to us and we analyze the game, and then we head back to the broadcasters out in LA. So unfortunately, it's nowadays, you used to be able to listen to it, I think, internationally, but nowadays it's limited to the UK unless you've got a VPN. So that's the way.
Oh, we got to get. You got to send me some clips.
Oh, I can send you some clips.
Can we listen to this somehow? Can I stream it? Can I stream your coverage somewhere?
The only way is to get a VPN, I think, and pretend that you're in the UK.
Well, I used to do that. I used to do that a lot to watch baseball. So I mean, I'm well versed on how to do that. I'll figure it out. All right. Well, that's good. It's exciting. No, I say lay it on thick. I think just let everybody know that you're a Seahawks fan and F the Rams and their stupid fan base and their annoying PA guy down there at SoFi. Just, I've
not heard about him. What's his deal?
Listen to it. You'll hear it on the broadcast.
Is it the guy who shouts Rams house and stuff like that?
Yes. He's like, whose house? He's just obnoxious.
Well, whose house? It's whoever you're playing, because you don't have any fans.
Entire game, it's him yelling. You'll hear it through the broadcast. You're going to hear it through your TV and radio. It's just over the top. One, because they don't sell it out. And however many it holds, I don't know what it is, 80,000. Hell, half of it, maybe not half, but a third of it's going to be Seahawks fans that are going to be down there.
I'd guess about 70%.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of people, from Washington live down there in California now. So you're confident they're going to win? Who is the I like what you said about Shaheed. And I like there was a couple wrinkles they did with Shaheed last week.
Yeah.
Throwing him in the I formation, throwing him a sweep. I like that. That was real neat. I like that little wrinkle that Kubiak showed, but he's got some he touched it a few times, got some giddy up. Who do you think, as we sit here a week from today and we recap the game, the player that made the most impact will be who?
Probably Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I think it's an interesting point on Shaheed in that now they've shown, look, we can use him around the line of scrimmage. We can use him in that short game, and it may just sort of put that thought into the mind of the Rams. Okay, we can't sit off him too much and be worried about the deep ball, because they'll just throw him the ball and it's an easy 7 yards and it's just like an extended handoff there for a free 7 or 8. So it does just put that doubt in the mind, and then if they are going to sort of say, well, we're going to gamble, we're going to play man, we're going to be up at the line with him, that's when you can beat him over the top. So I think, look, Darnold, I expect is going to, like last week, I think it's very hard to get a read on Sam Darnold because the game was 35-0. And then after that, it's hard to know what to do, because you throw it, you run the risk of, if you just run the ball, then you're just going to keep punting. I mean, I would have just done that. But I think this is a kind of game where he's going to have to make some plays, and I think he will. So I think it's that passing game. I think that's going to be the key. You've got to apply a bit of scoreboard pressure on the Rams, and if they do that, I'm backing the defense to do enough. So I'm confident. I don't pay a lot, like you, Puck, and we were talking about that, and going back to the sort of the terminology that people use. I did speak to somebody, an ex-GM once, and he actually said he used a fancy word and then said, all those words that the coaches use. And I thought it was quite funny that it goes to show that even people in the NFL are not, they're not using all these terms all the time.
It's just annoying.
But I genuinely think, I can't remember the point I was going to make now because of that.
None of us do. I don't know. None of us do. It's just going to be a fun game. It's going to be great. Can't wait to just watch it and sit back and just watch good football. We have two very good teams that right now are playing the best in the NFL, and they square off. Just can't wait.
That's what I was going to say. I don't spend much time on the analytics and the stuff like that, but DVOA has been quite a good sort of measure of who is the best. And the Seahawks are not just the number one DVOA team. And I think the Rams are second, which is what makes this such a compelling matchup. They're not just number one. They're historically one of the best number one ranked teams ever. So they're up there with the offense apparently is as explosive as the greatest show on turf. You're just thinking this is eventually, I think we're all kind of in this place. I don't know if you can remember how you felt in 2012. For me, as it was building, I was thinking, this is great. This is a lot of fun, but I'd still need to just see it. I need to see the team go into the playoffs and win. And then obviously a year later, they did that. And by the end of that Super Bowl in 2013, I don't know what I was worried about. Obviously they were always a great team. And now they've just confirmed it. And this year feels the same. And until they go and win a game like this, or they win a couple of playoff games, or they're in the NFC Championship, there's always going to be that bit of I don't know how good they are. It feels like they're really good, but until they've gone and shown it, we just won't know. And if they do show it, we'll look back on this week and think, no, they were always really good. DVOA and everything, they're so balanced. They've got not flawless, but they've got very few weaknesses. And you look at the Bills. They've got loads of weaknesses. Look at the Eagles and the Packers. Yeah. They look like they have weaknesses. Like you look at the Seahawks team, and like I said, they don't have necessarily Patrick Mahomes in the center, and they don't have Creed Humphrey, and they don't have Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, but they're a heck of a team. We've got a chance.
Yeah. All right, go to SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Rob's got all of his work up there. Ton of stuff on the Seahawks, ton of stuff on college football, the draft, guys that you should be looking at heading into the. I know we're the draft's months away, but as you're a big college football fan, great write-ups on all the players, quarterbacks, all of that. Also, YouTube puts stuff up all the time. Rob Staton Football up on YouTube. It's a great follow, great information, tons of followers. And, of course, you can follow him on X at Rob Staton. All right, get some sleep. Have fun on the call. Give me some highlights of it. I want to hear it. And I want some pro Seahawks stuff. Slip it in. You know, on this week on Inside the Bloody Trenches, Puck and I talked about that would be great. Well, I mean, that'd be a great promotion.
Before I go, you did hear Mike Garofalo giving you a shout out on the NFL Network.
I did not hear it. I heard someone pass it on to me, but I have not heard it. But I need to go back.
I heard it, and I had a big smile on my face when he did that.
Son of a gun. He had that trade like 2 minutes. We recorded something. And then I'm like, hey man, why didn't you just say it when we were doing it? He's like, I didn't know it quite yet. And he was, I need to play back that video because he's during it, like for 2 minutes, he's massively distracted. And like, hey man, and I had to like eventually edit it out because it was so distracted. And he's like, is that Seahawks related? No, it's not Seahawks related. It was the Sauce Gardner. It was one was Sauce Gardner, but it was the Quinnen Williams. He was getting the Quinnen Williams news like as we're recording. So. But I got to go back and find it. See, that's, it's great. Garofalo, shout out. Now it's your turn, Rob. Throw it out there for us. All right.
I'll try.
Have fun. We'll see you next week.
See you.
There he is, Rob Staton, Inside the Bloody Trenches. You can follow Rob again, Rob Staton on social media, Rob Staton Football on YouTube, and SeahawksDraftBlog.com is the website. Go visit Georgetown Beer, please, georgetownbeer.com, as they bring you Rob every single week. Okay. Before we go, we got on this day, as we've been introducing that new feature on the state, sports, non-sports stories. I got a couple of great stories, including a happy birthday to one of my favorite artists of all time. And then we'll do Hey, What the Puck. Before that, we had two shows that came out yesterday. I want to do kind of a best of 5 minutes of each. We've got Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish from the Seattle Times. That is only available for Puck's Posse members. So if you're not a member, I'd sign up today. It's a great time to sign up. You're going to get more of Divish in the offseason than ever before, and it's only going to be available for Puck's Posse members. He's in Las Vegas, GM meetings. We discussed the very latest on all free agents and trades and what they're going to do and how much money. In the clip that we're about to play, we talk about Josh Naylor obviously being a priority. And then Old Crimson came out yesterday, which is available to everyone. It's up on YouTube and it's on all podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. You heard Jim and I talk a little bit about it earlier. The gist of that was about NIL and the lack of spending and donating from the Cougar fan base. But here's the best of 5 minutes Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish and Old Crimson with myself, Jim Moore, the go-to guy, and Paul Sorensen.
Naylor's agent is kind of still feeling out the market to see if there are other teams, maybe trying to find like the right deal for this client. I think Pete Alonso and his situation with the Mets or the Red Sox or wherever he may end up is going to kind of, I wouldn't say hinder it or slow it, but I do think that that's, something that they're trying to feel out too. Where is Alonso going to go? Where is he going to end up? Does that open up an opportunity for Naylor? I wrote about it today in the Times. There isn't as many teams as you would think that really have maybe the financial wherewithal to go out and get him, like somebody like the Rangers who are trying to get underneath the luxury tax and trying to really operate less than they've been doing. That was a fit that maybe isn't going to be there unless they trade some contracts away. And it's interesting too. And I mentioned this, but there's always kind of that one team that kind of, throws a wrench into the whole process, the mystery team, what everybody calls. And like, could it be somebody like the Nationals or the Pirates or somebody that says the Marlins who say they want to try and invest in their future a little bit and bring in a guy that they know can kind of build around? I don't know if that's the case, but I looked at the whole field, and given where the market is, at least, with teams that have money and need a first baseman, I think the Mariners are in prime position. It's just whether or not, they're willing to maybe overpay a little bit to ensure that Josh Naylor doesn't find that other team.
Divish, do we have any idea? I mean, being around him for the, the months that you were, and he doesn't give you a lot, right? Certainly not in press conferences. I don't know what he's like away from the press conferences at his locker. I would assume he's kind of the same way. You get any sense what he may be prioritizing? Is it fit? Is it closer to family, which would be back east? Is it just straight money? Any sense of that?
No, not really. I think he's different in that way. Like some guys, you look at them and immediately it's all just about who's going to write the biggest check. Like with Cal Raleigh, it wasn't about that. He didn't want to wait. He wanted to be where he was comfortable. I do think Josh likes the idea of, a place where maybe there is not, the huge media crush. I don't think he loves to do that. I think he's really good when you put him on the podium or in a group setting. He can be very interesting, but I don't think like the day to day he wants to deal with that. And as far as like home and stuff, he's from Ontario, but he's got a house in Arizona. That's where his wife was when she had the kid. And like, I still don't know what they had, a boy or a girl, honestly. Like he didn't want to share that. So, I mean, I think, I'm trying to imagine Naylor in New York, Yankees or Mets. I just don't know that he would like that, but you never know. I mean, like he's just a very different personality, and he has kind of his own way of doing things. And one of those ways is not really sharing. I think he shared with his teammates or Justin Hollander and stuff like that about who he is and what he prefers. But, it's, I think there is a fit here. I think he likes it in Seattle, but, that doesn't, there is no hometown discount in all of this.
Well, and he's got all the leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
All of it.
Yeah, they've come out and said he's a priority. So, I mean, I don't think like they're waiting to see what Alonso gets to determine what they deserve, but I think they're waiting to see kind of where he ends up. But, the Mariners, I mean, given the situation, the Mariners, if they offer the right deal, something could happen in a week. You just don't really know how these things work out. But
it only takes 88,000 people of the 250,000 plus alumni to donate $18.90. That's it to raise $20 million. That's it. That's all you need. 88,000 people.
And a couple things that come to mind. Jim's frustration, I think it encapsulates a lot of Cougar fans. Why should I even put in $18.90 a month or $226 a year or $5,000 or whatever the heck it is? Because we've been pissing up a rope the last 2 years. We've been exiled. We've been beat up. We've had our face rubbed into the mud. We've been embarrassed as a university because we've been shown the door. And that's a tough ask, from that perspective. But then there's the other thing that you absolutely nailed, Puck, is if you basically just say, fuck it, why should I do this because it doesn't matter? Then you can't complain about it. You can't basically come in and say, okay, then that the quarterback sucks. I'm not going to give. We shouldn't have anything to say. They have a chance now moving forward into a new conference, and we're not going to compete, with the Texas Techs and the Oregons and the Ohio States at $50 million. Okay, we're not. We don't have to.
Right.
We can compete in our little world at this level, and that's what President Cantwell is talking about, and that's what she's asking to give. And the other group didn't ask to give. They didn't lay out a plan, so nobody knew what the hell was going on. This is at least a path forward. And if we don't give, then that's on us now. That's our fault. Period.
What's our goal? What is our goal here ultimately? I know Jimmy Rogers has said he wants to win a national championship. And I know in his heart of hearts, he believes that's going to happen. But reality says that's not going to happen for Jimmy Rogers. In fact, it's not even going to come close unless we start spending $50 million a year on NIL like Texas Tech is. Because all these teams, Ohio State, you name them, all the blue bloods and everything where they're just getting all the, we're not going to be able, but if our goal is to win the new Pac-12, okay, fine, 20 million. I think, we can do that with 1890, but is that our goal? I guess it is. Is that our new, big fish in a small pond feeling? Is that kind of where we are now?
That's what she just set the goal is 20 million.
Okay.
If it's at 5, I mean, they're not going to reach 50. I mean, that would be an absurd goal, but to get to 20 million based on 88,000 people donating $18 a month, $226 a year. I don't understand how that's so difficult for this fan base to raise the money.
No, I'm game for.
I just don't get it.
I'm game for doing that. I'm game for doing that, and I think every Coug should be game for $18.90 a month. I think we can all afford that.
I know people are down on this season. Look what they have done this year. Yes, are they 4-5, and it's not a great record and all that. They went into an SEC school and an ACC school's backyard and had them on the ropes and damn near beat them. Now, again, with more resources, if you go from 5 million to 20, it just gets you better players. It just has more resources. I guess, Paul, my question is this. Why do so many of this fan base sit on the sidelines? Why?
Because they've always sat on the sidelines. It's been a tradition at Washington State. I go back to the mid '80s as the old Spokane Cougar Club director, just begging for scraps and, just being out there, just trying to get money. I know what it's like. And it goes back, 45 years. It's been something. And it's because we live in such a great area. There's a lot of distractions for money. You can go ski. You can go to the lake. You can do a lot of different things. You go to Oxford, Mississippi. They have a $31 million football NIL program for football only. Virginia had a billionaire step up this year and donated $20 million, $22 million. It's a 30-year run. This is the best run Virginia's had in 30 years in football. The people in the stands couldn't believe it. So people have stepped up in Ruthian efforts to help, and it's not a coincidence that they're winning this year because the money is exactly what you said, buying the dudes. So, from that, there's still a chance. And when we started this goofy season, this exhibition season before they roll into the Pac-12 in 26, we thought 6-6, 7-5 was going to be a damn good year. And other than the wheels falling off at the end of the Virginia game, they're right on that run. And they beat Louisiana Tech, and they're going to have a tough time against James Madison. Another billionaire guy stepped up and brought a bunch of guys in for that program, and then beat Oregon State because they just lost to an 0-18, for Christ's sake, which was nice job, Beavs. At home, they're 6-6. So they've kind of got what they needed to get with all the other teams. To answer your question, traditionally, Washington State has not been a team that has stepped up traditionally on the money side, especially when you compare to those guys on the west side. They have been the donors over on Seattle, and Washington State traditionally hasn't when it comes to athletics. That's just the way it's been.
All right, there he is, 5 minutes from each inside pitch there with Ryan Divish. That full podcast, again, only available for Puck's Posse members. Right now, our GM meetings update with Divish from Las Vegas, he's got more intel on Josh Naylor in this week's podcast. Also, stories about Tarek Skubal. How active will Seattle be on Tarek Skubal? Luis Castillo, options at third base. We covered all with Ryan Divish, inside pitch. Again, brought to you by Chalet Bowl on this week's edition with him. Again, only available to Puck's Posse members. You can sign up today at pucksports.com. And then Old Crimson. We didn't talk much about Louisiana Tech. That is available for everyone. It's up on YouTube and all podcast platforms as we speak. Just going into a lot of detail about the NIL and how this fan base can give more to that collective and just athletically, and they raise the ceiling on getting better players there. It's a struggle there. And I think it's something that can easily be solved, but it's just going to take a commitment from that entire fan base. So 2 new episodes out that were not part of the Daily Puck Drop yesterday that are available up there right now. All right, we got Hey What the Puck coming up here in just a quick second. But on this day, November 12th, A lot of great stuff. 1933. The first NFL football game was played on a Sunday. How about that? They didn't play games on a Sunday. Why? Because it was illegal for some reason. Sunday at Philadelphia's Baker Bowl. Sporting events on Sunday had been illegal on Sundays. The Pittsburgh Pirates, later changed to the Steelers, had tied the Bears 3-3. It was illegal because of Pennsylvania's blue laws against professional sports being played on Sunday. But before the repeal officially went into effect, Pittsburgh team owner Art Rooney secured a commitment from the city's top police official, who agreed not to enforce the law in exchange for tickets to the game. So how about that? Congratulations to the Rooney family. If they had stepped up, we wouldn't be playing games on Sunday anymore. Now Sunday's just become a tradition of playing football there in the NFL. All right, couple of happy birthdays before we get to our last story. 1876. That's a long time ago. Happy birthday to Archibald Moonlight Graham. Yes, he was a real person. He played outfield one game for the New York Giants. Of course, was the subject of one of the greatest movies of all time that I watch every year on the eve of opening day, Field of Dreams. He passed away at the age of, passed away in 1965. We have another birthday to get to you. And happy birthday goes out to the one and only Neil Young. 80 years young today. 80 years old, Neil Young. Happy birthday to him. All right, 1990, last story for you before we get to Hey, What the Puck. The World Wide Web, first proposed by CERN computer scientists Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Caillou. The first browser and server were implemented with the first web page going live Christmas of that year. Think about that. It just doesn't, 1990 doesn't feel that long ago. We think of now what we're doing. We're doing this right now on the web. It was initially created as a tool for high-energy physicists community to collaborate and share information instantly among researchers around the world. In 1991, the first web servers outside of CERN were switched on, and then it really just took off. 1994, Yahoo, founded by Jerry Yang, David Philo, Stanford students, became the first popular web directory. Then 1 year later, online shopping became a thing. And the first company to start, a little startup called Amazon, 1995, in the garage over on the east side. Now look at it today. Look at the difference of Jeff Bezos. Have you ever seen pictures of him, what he used to look like, what he looks like now? What the hell's he on, by the way? All right. That's on this day. All right, let's wrap up the Daily Puck Drop here for a Wednesday with Hey, What the Puck, which is brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle, your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damage affects your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. You can follow them online, by the way, at restoration1.com. This is not even so much a comment. Usually we do kind of a comment at the end of this. This is going to be more of a promotion. We've talked about this story a lot. I'm going to bring it up again. First of all, John Canzano, who we have on every week, I think is the single, and I'm not just saying this because he's on, I think he's the greatest writer that we have today. And I'm not just talking about sports, everything. He just writes about sports. I don't think anyone does the research that he does, and I don't think anyone writes with the compassion and emotion like he does. He just captures it so beautifully. He goes from covering conference drama to economics to making picks for football games to writing human interest stories that will have a tie in sports. I promote him because this week he wrote a story, just came out yesterday, about the University of Washington soccer player Mia Hammond, who we've talked about passed away last week at the age of 21 with a very rare kidney cancer disease. He captures it so beautifully in such a tragic story, which he does quite often and does it so well. If you're not a subscriber, I don't know if you can access it or not. I would say if you just want to read an excellent story and column about an excellent young lady, I would go spend the $5 to go read it and maybe gift it to somebody and read it, because 21 years on this planet, just way too short. And she lived quite a lot in those 21 years. And John captures her story of Mia Hammett beautifully. So I would encourage you to go read that up at johncanzano.com. All right, that's Hey What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle. Again, give them a call if any damages affect your property or commercial property, residential property, I should say. 206-817-8917. All right, big thanks to everybody watching and listening today. Thank you to all our sponsors, as always. Couldn't do it without your support. Thank you. We could always take more sponsors, by the way. If you're a company like to be a sponsor of Puck Sports, hit me up. Puckett.pucksports.com. We love it. Take as many as we possibly can. We love all the support. If you're a local company that wants to get out there, likes to support, I don't know. I want to say local journalism, but I really don't think this is journalism. It's just sports talk. Give me you can email me, puck@pucksports.com. But big thanks to Limbeck Lumber, Georgetown Brewery, and also Restoration One. Thanks to gym sponsors on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Clean Streak, Bright Owl Lighting, by the way. Contact Bright Owl Lighting, Brian Turner and the crew. Let them do your Christmas lights. They're great. They will mainly up in the island counties and Skagit. Will dip down into King County there as well. Also, Brotherton Cadillac, thank you to Brad Brotherton and Matt Baker there at the Angry Beaver. Today's Daily Puck Drop is up on YouTube after the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Try to get to as many as you can, even the negative ones. I enjoy the negative ones. We try to kill them with kindness. Also, you can find the Daily Puck Drop on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, or the heavyweights, but they're available everywhere, and pucksports.com, where you can sign up to become a Pucks Posse member. You support all the free content we do. Plus, we give you bonus shows like Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish. New episode is out. Came out yesterday at the GM meetings. KJ Arntz comes out tomorrow with Mitch Levy. Yes, it's free during the live show, but once the live show is over, you can only access it if you are a Pucks Posse member. All right, that's it for us here on a Thursday show. As I mentioned, we will have Mitch Levy on and Mikey G. Mike Garofolo from the NFL Network will stop on by. We'll recap all the news and notes from the NFL and look ahead to just a great weekend of games, especially two in particular on Sunday, and, of course, one involving our Seahawks and the L.A. Rams. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!